friends, it's Grandma Rita. Welcome to my kitchen, and today I'm putting together two retro recipes, strawberry pretzel salad and peach pretzel salad. They're both for my family. I tried this first trick with a food processor thinking it was so clever, but it wasn't. I'll share with you a tip I just learned. I have a new food processor, so I thought it would be so slick to just dump the pretzels in and let it do its thing. That does not work very good. What I found is, although I don't like silicone bags for most things, they work very good for this, and you do a small amount at a time with a rolling pin. I thought for sure by now there'd be something easier, but this is the only way, and it's gonna get them, crushed pretty good. Once you get the pretzels crushed, you add some brown sugar and some melted butter, and you press that into a pan and bake it a few minutes. And then you're gonna make a layer with cream cheese and some sugar. You're gonna whip that all up, and then you need to add some Cool Whip. Here's a fun fact you may not know. The size containers that you Americans can get in the United States are not the same size as in Canada. For instance, if it calls for one small 8-ounce carton of Cool Whip, that is not 1 liter. The news is, I spent so much time trying to figure it out. I put together a conversion chart for all of us Canadians that are as confused as I have been for a very long time. So 8 ounces, you have to measure by cup, is 3 cups. So get out your measuring cup, and there will be 1 cup left over. Add the Cool Whip to the cream cheese layer and mix it together. In Canada, you'd have this much left over. And so sometimes I just add it all in. It's gonna be a little extra floofy, but it's not gonna hurt anything. And frankly, I don't want that little thing just sitting in my freezer going bad till I throw it out 6 months from now. Mix in all the Cool Whip to the cream cheese layer and use a spatula to get the sides and the bottom of the pan. Drain a can of peaches but reserve the juice. Then dissolve 2 packages of Jello crystals in 2 cups of boiling water. Add in the reserved peach juice once it's fully dissolved and enough water to equal 1½ cups. Here are all the components for this layered peach pretzel salad. So we have the crust that I've had in the freezer to get chilled before we add the cream cheese Cool Whip layer. And then we're going to arrange this canned peaches that have been drained, and then the Jello at the top. Once you have all the layers ready, you can start assembling. One of my must-have favorite kitchen tools is these spatulas, spreading spatulas. My mom used a flat one like this all the time, and my friend who's a chef gave me this one that she uses all the time, and it works marvelously when you're spreading anything that you want spread like kind of in an exact manner, like icing. Spread that fluffy cream cheese filling with your favorite knife and make sure that it goes all the way to the edges so you seal the edge from anything, the Jello sliding past the sides. When you're finishing off this layer, make sure that you go all the way around the edges for 2 reasons. You want it to be pretty on the outside through the glass container and level, but you also don't want to leave a gap there or the Jello will, fall down and soak into the crust. And it makes the crust soggy. You don't want that. So seal the edges with the cream cheese layer. The Jello needs to be cooled to about room temperature or just a little bit below that. You can test it to see if it's ready to be poured on by putting a piece of fruit in, and it should stay in the bottom. And also skim off the bubbles if you have any. Arrange the peach slices on top of the cream cheese layer, or if you prefer, you can cut up the peaches into little squares and just put them on the top and have like bite-sized pieces. I tried this fruit test. We'll see if it works, but I just pushed the fruit down and it stayed for a while. So then it floats to the top. So I'm gonna say, let's say it's ready to pour on. Once the Jello has cooled, carefully and slowly pour the Jello mixture over the top of the peaches and then carefully transfer it into the refrigerator to cool until chilled and solid. There it is in all its Jello glory, the layers. And you could see the peaches peeking through, and now I will put it in the fridge to solidify. Check the description below for all the links to the recipe and the holiday guide in which this recipe is included. You just might want to use this for one of your holiday dinners so you can have a special Jello salad or dessert too. Happy cooking, everyone!